Hey everyone, welcome to Logan Smoshpit. Glad to have you here. Do me a favor and please subscribe if you haven't already. Today we're going to do another episode of Logan's List, the place where I share my opinions on all things music related, ranging from common topics to obscure topics. Today we're going to count down my top 10 most creative band names. This list will be really jumbled and chaotic. Names are ranked extremely high for subjectiveness. A logical, rational guideline to rank them simply doesn't exist. Nevertheless, I tried to sort them honestly, depending on the reaction each of them evoked. The only requirement was that I needed to have listened to the band before at least once. If a band checked off that requirement, then it automatically became eligible. Obviously, there won't be any solo artists mentioned on my list whatsoever. Not sure if you guys have noticed this before or not, but doesn't it seem like you can smash any two words together and create a decent band name, like Pebble Wing or Scuba Farm or Knee Faucet? Maybe even a song, Looking at You, Angry Chair. As I disclose my list, I will tell you what I like about each band name and the origin story behind it too. I didn't conduct any research prior to expressing what each name means to me. I'm just speculating, approaching them with an open mind. If my thoughts match the actual truth, then it's just purely a coincidence, okay? Let's get some honorable mentions out of the way. 9 Inch Nails, Falling in Reverse, Guns N' Roses, Black Sabbath, and Five Finger Death Punch. Great names, but they didn't make my list. Sorry. Let's get started. Number 10. The Doors. The dynamic vastness intrinsically associated with the words. It doesn't explicitly state the amount of doors. Instead, it leaves the interpretations completely open. The implications that the possibilities are endless. When one door closes, another one will take its place, a lesson everyone can apply to their lives, including myself. The origin story goes that Jim Morrison read a book called The Doors of Perception, which was in turn based on a quote from a William Blake book titled Heaven and Hell. William Blake was one of Morrison's heroes. The quote says, and I quote, "If the doors of perception were cleansed, everything would appear to man as it is, infinite. For man has closed himself up till he sees all things through narrow chinks of his cavern." Number 9. Manic Street Preachers. I very much appreciate the personal aura this name conveys, practically suggesting that we aren't some inaccessible force, but Manic Street Preachers refers to a group that lives among you. It suggests that while Manic Street Preachers may be unorthodox, at least they have humility. They don't boast about being a star. They admit they're merely one piece of the collective puzzle which work together to accomplish a grand goal. How did the crafty Manic Street Preachers get their name? Well, this is unconfirmed. Nobody knows if it's true or not, but allegedly, James Dean Bradfield was washing dishes and started fighting with a homeless man who exclaimed, "What are you, boyo, some kind of Manic Street Preacher?" Apparently, the name stuck. Number 8. Rage Against the Machine. Personally, the number one quality linked with Rage Against the Machine is how sufficiently it describes the main goal of the band, to release songs which embodied standing up for what they believed in, not sitting on the sidelines during injustice, and encouraging listeners to do the same. The lead singer revealed that the hot-blooded Rage Against the Machine moniker came about because an unreliable 1979 Chevrolet van they traveled in broke down countless times. As a result, they had to cancel a ton of live shows they were scheduled to appear at. They were raging against this piece of junk machine. Looking back, it's pretty funny. Number 7. Dream Theater. The thing that appeals to me most about Dream Theater would be how it transcends musical boundaries. It insinuates that this won't be your standard run-of-the-mill band. Rather, they treat music as an artistic outlet to entertain fans. Various accounts credit Mike Portnoy's dad Howard with conjuring their official name. Howard left a message on his son's answering machine informing him about a phenomenal movie theater known as the Dream Theater, located in Monterey, California. Unfortunately, it's not there anymore, yet the enchanting name lives on through the band. Number 6, Iron Maiden. I don't know about you, but I find history very interesting. I enjoy watching various documentaries and learning about what life was like hundreds or even thousands of years ago. I guess what attracts me to Iron Maiden would be the wisdom attached, an old soul vibe, someone who has experienced unimaginable things that shape them into who they are today. They realize that just because something is new doesn't necessarily mean it will be superior to a predecessor. If it ain't broke, don't fix it mentality going on. Iron Maiden is probably the only self-explanatory name on this list. Steve Harris claimed that he was watching a movie called The Man in the Iron Mask, based on a book by Alexander Dumas. This title referenced the ancient Iron Maiden torture contraption, and the rest is history. Number 5, My Chemical Romance. I believe my admiration toward this particularly outstanding name stems from the fondness it radiates. It kind of reminds me of the initial spark generated by a relationship, whether it be with a person or an object that carries significant value to you. The so-called Renaissance period of the relationship, for lack of a better term, where nothing can go wrong. Everything feels totally blissful. You wouldn't trade those days for anything. As for the origin, Gerard's little brother Mikey stumbled upon an unusual book at a Barnes & Noble store called Ecstasy, The Three Tales of Chemical Romance. He passed the information along, and lo and behold, My Chemical Romance was born. Number 4, Judas Priest. Putting two uncommon words side by side virtually guarantees you will grab someone's attention. Judas carries such an evil connotation, while Priest conveys a predominantly good-natured character. The oldest war known to man, good versus evil. That concept has always fascinated us and affected us. It represents the cornerstone of everything humans choose to do. We're hardwired to pick a side. Judas Priest covers all the bases by stirring both options in. Interestingly enough, Judas Priest was actually derived from a Bob Dylan song, The Ballad of Frankie Lee, and Judas Priest. There you go. Number 3, Quiet Riot. Quiet Riot just rolls off the tongue so beautifully. Say it with me. Quiet Riot. Just like Wavy Gravy. Very easy to remember and catchy as well. I can't think of another word off the top of my head that rhymes with quiet. It offers an additional intriguing factor by the perplexing combination of words which are so different from each other, literally opposites. Quiet and riot have absolutely nothing in common. It causes you, upon first glance, to wonder, how can these two strangers possibly coexist? Their alluring name hints that their music will be anything but conventional, perhaps bring listeners from radically diverse backgrounds closer together. The tremendous name Quiet Riot revolved around a Rick Parfit quote, who played in Status Quo. When prompted for potential ideas, he blurted out, "Quite right," but his British accent skewed it to "quite right." Needless to say, the band approved. Number 2, Blue Oyster Cult. Exclusiveness promised by the cult insignia after Blue Oyster sounds intriguing. This name suggests that only a lucky few even know it exists. Humans are innately curious. When something mysterious happens, we instantly want to know more about it, right? The same can be said here, especially with social media nowadays. Everyone is accustomed to putting information out in the open. However, Blue Oyster Cult seemingly bucks that trend, which is quite exciting. Like you'll never know the full story. The exciting Blue Oyster Cult name came about after Sandy Pearlman, their manager, wrote a peculiar poem about a group of aliens dubbed Blue Oyster Cult on a mission to inconspicuously influence Earth's history. Number 1, drumroll please. Avenged Sevenfold. I admire how they were able to uniquely take a real saying and use it as their identity. You don't see that very often. Avenged Sevenfold could have taken the simple route and made something up connected to random words together, like we discussed earlier. But they actually took the time and effort to discover a tangible source fans can refer back to. Of course, the deadly Avenged Sevenfold name owes its origins to the Bible story where Cain killed his brother Abel. God punished Cain by sending him away to wander aimlessly. Cain worried that someone would try to kill him, therefore God placed a mark on Cain as a warning sign and said, "Whoever kills Cain will receive vengeance sevenfold." Just a quick recap. Number 10, The Doors. Number 9, Manic Street Preachers. Number 8, Rage Against the Machine. Number 7, Dream Theater. Number 6, Iron Maiden. Number 5, My Chemical Romance. Number 4, Judas Priest. Number 3, Quiet Riot. Number 2, Blue Oyster Cult. Number 1, Avenged Sevenfold. Well, that's it. Let me know what your favorite band names are in the comments. That does it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. I really appreciate the support. I'll see you next time. Until then, rock on.